Hey guys. So this little thing has passed Louisiana, and I think a few other states will follow suit. But basically it's saying, sugary items, pretty much nothing but sugary items. If it has no beneficial value at all, it doesn't qualify under EB, you can't get it with EBT anymore. You have to use your own money, which that's fine. Um like when I had EBT, it was the necessities. Your milk, your bread, eggs, cheese, um, and it's really good because it's like some of that stuff's expensive. So if I want to make tacos one night, meat's expensive. At least now it is, or it was. I remember going to Ingles and getting a pound of meat. It was like $5 a pound, but then it just woof, it was about 2 years ago. It was like $11. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? What the fuck is this? But it's like, oh, I want tacos. I can get lettuce and tomatoes. Of course, that stuff's so cheap you could probably just use your own money for that anyway. But people are losing their minds. Of course, it's the usual suspects, the people on the left, acting like these items are being restricted and taken out of stores. Essentially, no. It's just if you want to buy them, you're gonna do it with your own money, not on taxpayer money. That's all. So if you want your soda, go ahead. You can have your soda. It just needs to be your money that's purchasing it, not EBT. But
If you have food stamps in Louisiana, you can no longer purchase your sodas, your candies, or your energy drinks. Skylar, this is a good thing. People are going to be helped. Why are you forcing people what to eat? This is all about control. It starts in Louisiana, then it starts.
first off, no one's controlling anything. You can still purchase those things. You just can't do it with your food benefits. Who's trying to prevent you from eating? If you want to buy bags of candy, go ahead. But people are like, well, as a taxpayer, we should not be responsible for your bad choices of food. That's all that's happening here. They act like they're being thrown in some camp where you're like, oh, this is your meal and this is all you get. You're not allowed to. No, they're acting like these things are being removed from stores or they're not able to access them anymore. No, you can still purchase it. You just can't use your EBT benefits to buy it.
Everywhere else. Just like with the disposables.
You can still buy them, you just have to use your money to do it now. You can no longer use taxpayer dollars to buy that shit. Nobody's controlling you. The EBT program was supposed to be a supplemental program, not a snack haul, not for your energy drinks, not for your Olipop, not for your cans and cans and cans of Coca-Cola. You can still buy all that. You are free to take yourself down to the store and grab it, all of it, but you're going to do it on your own dime. Welcome to the land of necessities only, where the majority of us have been living for the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. And as someone who's worked at Ingles for a while, it's North Carolina, so you see a lot of it here. But I worked at Ingles, and there were families. Very careful with the words I say. Families that are coming in 3 or 4 buggies worth of food, and not one lick of any healthy item. Cakes and cookies and potato chips and sodas. Now it's not preventing you from buying like your fucking pizza rolls and stuff like that. Those aren't sugary. They're still junk food, but they're not sugary. So you're still able to buy those. But I would see people with bags upon bags of pizza rolls and frozen pizzas, and it's just like 3 or 4 buggies. Everything would cost about $500, $600. And then you look at their receipt and they still have like $1,500 left over. Not one lick of healthy food item. And then you look at the kids and they're fucking overweight. Like children, they're fucking overweight. Clearly they're not active and their parents are just buying the shit for them. But yet then these parents have these nice fucking phones and these nice cars and they get their hair done and got their nails done. Oh, they have money for that, but they don't have money to feed their fucking kids. They've also implemented, this was a while ago, but basically a 20-hour work week. If you don't meet 20 hours, you're not qualified for benefits, which is great. People are like, oh my God, people could starve. Okay, well then find yourself a job. Taxpayers are tired of giving their money to people who don't want to work. There's some people who just don't want to work. They expect everyone to pay for them, like the people with student loans. These people go in, they know what to expect. They're taking out a loan and they're expected to pay it back. But then they get through and they're like, no, I expect everyone else to pay back my student loan. It's those same kinds of people. We're not here to pay off your shit. Okay, you take out a student loan, you pay it back yourself. You want to get EBT? That's fine. Because sometimes your job may pay for the other essentials, you know, rent or whatever, but you may lack the food portion of it. So that's where EBT helps. But if you want to buy your sweets and everything, that's fine. It's just not going to be on taxpayer dollars anymore. I mean, I don't know why this is so controversial. You know, they're not telling you, no, you can never buy sweets ever again. If you have EBT, you are banned from buying sweets. Go to the gym, fatty. No, they're saying you can get your sweets. If you want your sodas, go ahead. It's just not covered under EBT now. And Louisiana is doing it. Like I said, I think there's a few other states that are doing it. Virginia and New York, I think, might be one of them. But again, as someone who worked at Ingles, and I saw this shit on a regular basis, these families coming in, all these food benefits and not getting one lick of healthy items, you know, just why? And that was 2013 to 2014, where that 20-hour work week really wasn't a thing. So basically they want 20 hours a week or 80 hours a month. If you don't have that, I think you qualify, you can get it for like 3 months, but then after that you don't get the benefits. So if you want to get the benefits and continue getting them, you need 20 hours a week. And they don't care. You don't even have to be paid. They say volunteer work. As long as you're working some way, as long as you're not in your fucking house just living off the government, you know, so a paying job, volunteer work, they don't care. As long as you have some way to validate, you know, they're able to validate that, and like, oh, you're with an employer, or if you're volunteering, you know, as long as they can say, oh yeah, we heard this blah blah blah, and that's, it was like, yeah, they work here, they work, you know, 20 hours a week, their duties are this and this, blah blah blah. So volunteer work, you don't even have to get paid and you can get EBT as long as it's 20 hours a week. So they're making it incredibly easy for people to get it. But again, there are people who just don't want to work. Like right now, I'm taking care of June. She's the elderly woman I take care of. Like 20 hours a week. So, you know, I put in my application for it because I have enough to pay the rent and my internet bill. I just don't have enough for food. But of course, I really don't have a lot of space in the refrigerator because my roommate thinks she owns it. So I have, like, you have your refrigerator, and I have a very small portion on the right side. And sometimes if anything happens to slip over onto her side, she just jams it back onto my side. No room in the freezer for me at all, so it's not like I can go, you know, just crazy and wild with food that I buy. But I qualify because 20 hours a week. And again, if I want to buy a Monster, I don't know about North Carolina, I don't know if it, but either way, if I wanted to buy a Monster, I just use my regular money. Normally when I have EBT, I use, you know, I'll get what I need, you know, like the necessities, and I'll be like, okay, well, pay with EBT first, and then the rest will be on my card, my with debit, and the rest will be like the monsters or whatever else. That's really, if I want to get something sweet, I'll just pay money. Not a big deal. But the fact that people, the left, are freaking out about this, like, oh my god, who are they to tell? No one's telling you that you can't buy it. If you want to buy your pizza rolls, you can still buy your pizza rolls. If you want to buy your Hot Pockets and all that, you can still do that. If you want to buy those really good little freaking pot pies, those things are actually really good. You can do that. You just can't buy sweets. So if you planned on going and getting nothing but candies and soda, better do it on your own dime. About harming poor people. Didn't I say the usual suspects were upset about it? These people seem to forget that beggars can't be choosers. When you go begging for handouts, they should and do come with limitations. I remember when foods... Yeah, exactly! Yeah, exactly! For people who don't know, food stamps were actual, like, stamps at one point. And I remember because we had it when I was a kid, because my dad was the only one working. He worked in pizzeria. We had a nice house, 2-story house. We had a backyard. We just, with his budget, we couldn't afford everything. That was basically food. So we had food stamps, and were like little stamps. But that's crazy that people, I remember going to Kroger in the mid-90s to get food, knowing that chips, pop, and candy were not covered by those food stamps. Candy and soda are not food items. Milk, bread, eggs, meat, veggies. Yeah. Wait, don't act like we all haven't been behind. Yeah, this is pretty much what I saw constantly when I worked at Ingles. So I do see some bread down there, but this is pretty much what I saw. Like 4 buggies of this. But like, you got those fucking Magnum bars right there, those ice cream bars right there. Got all this fucking Fanta. Got ramen right there, a big pack of Hot Pockets, some Gatorade, some chips. It looks like either meat or like chicken tender, like a tenderloin or pork chops or something. Got some cinnamon rolls right down there. So basically this, but all this other healthy stuff like the meat and the bread, yeah, that wasn't there. It was all just like this. This is just junk food. It was like this, but like 50 times more. And if you want to buy your sodas, that's fine. But it's not a necessity. It's not you don't need it to be covered. What do people say? Aldi's every damn time. If you eat my soul, he will do my bidding. It's about control. I worked in a grocery chain where a woman came in and bought cases of soda, chips, and candy with food stamps. Yeah. I questioned her, and she told me that she used it to stock the concession stand at her son's baseball games. When I reported it, no one seemed to care. I mean, okay, so that's a little different. But then again, it's like, well, what stops people from lying about it? If this woman was genuinely doing a kind of a good deed like that, her son's baseball game, like concession stand, I have no problem with that. But again, how do you tell that the person's, telling the truth? You can't. It's all about control. That's what government does. If you want control, buy your own. Watch prices come down. It's fucking $10 for a 12 pack. Is it? Is it? Again, I don't drinks. I haven't had soda in a while. I think the last time I had soda was a couple months ago when I was at work. I don't drink soda. You know, like I said, when I do my recording, I'll sometimes have a Monster, but most of the time I'm just I'm drinking that, which I'm going out tomorrow to Ingles, so let's see if maybe Ingles has their own version, because this one is from the Great Value, so it's from Walmart. I think it was my friend who gave. She just that or my I can't remember which one, but they gave me like 4 or 5 of them. And at first they just sat here for ages. I'm like, you know what? Let me try them. And I tried them. I'm like, this is actually really good. Should be limited to powdered milk, government cheese, and hamburger meat. Oatmeal cookies with dried and nutmeg instead of cinnamon are the best breakfast cookies. That sounds really. I love cranberries, and that's another thing. Like with EBT, I would get like, even though they're not super healthy, because everything in a store isn't truly healthy, but like dried fruit or like granola or something. I love that kind of stuff. Salads. I love me a salad. So that's the kind of stuff that I would buy, with, the benefits, because usually it's expensive. Like those big bags of granola, they're so expensive. But I love granola. I love dried fruits, pineapples, banana chips, cranberries, raisins. I love grapes. I'm a fucking grape fiend. Like, I have to prevent myself from eating the whole bag of grapes because I love grapes. Bananas, apples. If sometimes I'll maybe a couple mangoes. I love mango. Mango is like one of the most delicious fruits ever. Like, fuck. I'm also able to get blueberries for free. Over at the country house, they have a thing of blueberries out there, and I can get blueberries there. Get figs. They just gave a whole bag of figs to my landlady gave some to her son when he came by. So I love healthy items. It's just they're so expensive. But that's what I like EBT, because it really helps with that stuff, because healthy stuff's expensive. You will have to choose fancy nails or hot Cheetos. EBT is supposed to be a supplemental program, not a snack haul. Yeah. They want socialism so bad, right? They still need. Yeah, apparently that's something you can do. I didn't even know about that. Apparently you can use your EBT in certain fast food restaurants. I think I saw that pop up a few months ago, and I was like, since when can you even do that? It was always my belief that, or understanding that EBT was for, like, grocery stores. Why would they allow EBT in restaurants and food, establishments like that? Like, okay, for example, like, I'm going out tomorrow. My landlady's sister is coming to get me at like 12 something, and while she goes to her doctor's appointment, I'm gonna kind of go to Pizza Hut and just kind of sit there and eat, So if that was a place with EBT, someone could go in and not have to pay a damn thing, really. That all you can eat buffet, have a whole family, and you're just paying for it with EBT. Like, what kind of shit is that? Like, what the fuck? You should not be able to go into a food establishment and pay with EBT benefits. No. No one's forcing you. Don't take my money to pay your bills. Problem solved. She looks like she's talking into a dick. Fuck these crybabies that are a drain to society. Okay, I'll trade you a 12 pack of grape soda for 12 to for yeah. I mean a steak sounds good, but fuck. Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, right? And all the freaking steak my parents would buy, big, big, big steaks, but only like that much meat. Actually, probably about that much. So you have this big old freaking steak, but only that much meat because all of it was just fat. So they're making these, and I'm just sitting there like, I really don't want this. Because I just have to trim around. I don't eat the fat part. I think it's nasty. So then I only get like that much meat. It's just don't say they can just grab it. Bad idea. Recipients on welfare industrial complex are getting a wake-up call. SNAP is for necessities only. Buy your own candy, soda, energy drinks. These people can go piss up a rope. These people are parasites. And again, you don't even need to work anymore, like a wage job. They said volunteering. You could do volunteering as long as it's 20 hours a week. So for all these people like, oh, it's so hard to find a job. You don't have to find a job. You just need to do some kind of work for 20 hours a week. See it all the time in California. Swipe the EBT at the local convenience store for a slurry and some candy. Again, I don't mind EBT. Um, I think it's beneficial for, again, people who may have jobs and they're just pretty much able to pay the other necessities like rent and this and that. But if you're one of those people that refuse to work, you refuse to do anything meaningful, but you expect the government and the taxpayer to take care of you and your family, you should be limited. If you want to have your fancy phone and your fancy car, okay. But don't expect us to be paying for the junk food that you're trying to feed your kids. Simple as that. Simple as that. And again, I have no problem with it. I just filled out the application not too long ago because I'm getting 20 hours a week, and the money I have is enough to pay the rent, my internet bill, stuff like that. But then by the time everything's done, I really don't have much left. So I have no problem with EBT. But whenever I've gotten, if I wanted something sweet, I just pay money. I just say, here's, this is the stuff, ring that up separately. And then, just ring the stuff up separately. So that way that can be the EBT, and that those items that can be with my card, with my my debit. And usually it's, I'll pay for the EBT stuff, and then the other stuff isn't just like like a monster or something. It'll be like my toilet paper and toiletries, stuff like that, cat food. But all the other stuff like the sweets or whatever, I'll put it on my debit. But I'm sure a lot of you have had EBT or have EBT. But I'm sure you guys are also productive members of society. And you're not just sitting around like, oh man, I demand my fucking junk food and sweets and this. But I really don't see the issue here. If you want soda, they're not stopping you. They're not stopping you. You just have to pay money, use your money for it. But anyway, that's gonna do for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.